Okay guys, it's great to have you here. What I'm going to do is walk you through what we've done. So remember, our goal with this project is to take in live horse races every day. We're basically scraping the internet, taking that information from a reliable source, we're parsing it into data objects, and we're using the information for the daily horse races to be put into an Excel spreadsheet. So what we're going to do is just run it through from start to beginning. That doesn't make any sense. From start to end, and you're going to see what each one of these steps does. We schedule the trigger. You guys want it every morning. What we're then doing is we are getting it from our reliable source. Let's go ahead and look at this. Now, how do we define a reliable source in order to get our horse races? It basically means that the data is predictable and it's in a consistent format. As we go down, we see that all of the information related to the week, related to horses, related to matches in each of these areas is very easy to understand. And so we're able to get the horses, the fields, and when they're going to be racing with predictability. As we go through, we basically pull this information through a code snippet into a way that is easy to manage. And then we do another search in order to get the data for each horse meet. Again, we do another extraction step, and what we want to do is recognize what horse races are relevant. So we have a filter here that basically makes sure that we have an actual race coming up. And even when we filter out the meets that are not happening, we still have a large number, 110 sources here. Now, as we go through, you see here we're basically going and we're combining the actual horse race information over here on the left with the prompt that we're going to give to our AI agent to search the web in real time. Now, it's important to note that inside of n8n, we don't have the full functionality of ChatGPT actually, but what we do have is an AI agent. What this means is that we are taking the prompt that we have, we are combining it with the horse race data, and we're using a chat model to format our output, and we're going to be using the SERP API. What SERP API does is it searches the internet for us, performs a Google search, and extracts the relevant information. Since we're focusing on Australian horse races, I figured it would make sense to only filter the Australian data. And so we process the output, we basically get the agent response, and we make sure that the actual horse race information and the analysis, the tips that we value so much, are separated from each other so we can parse them together with some of our early parsing data. We set it as a variable so it's easier to manage, and then we export to our sheet. Now when we look at our sheet, we have everything that we so desire. Let me move this, and let's make this easy to look at. So you see here, we have the race number for the day. Looks like we're missing a property for the date. Let me know if you actually need that. We have the race name, the location, the track it's on, the time of the race, the horses. This is a little ugly to look at. And then we have our analysis that we're pulling from the web. So what this is doing is going to sites that have these horses and just pulling those, right? We're not doing anything novel. We're not doing any sort of predictions, just leveraging what's already available. And what this means is we have a couple of strong suggestions here. So when we go in here, something we need to realize is when we go to the SERP API, we have a free tier and we're able to perform a number of searches, but what happens is we're going to run out at some point. So in order to really get this to where we need it, this site is very easy to use. You can create an account and you have a key there. I should probably hide that, but not relevant. What else we're going to need in order to make this project successful as we run through is a Google Sheets integration. Usually what this requires is access to Google Cloud. Well, we can come in here, create a new credential, is access to Google Cloud. This one seems to be easier. And in order to get this working, all we need to do is download the blueprint and share it with you. So if you want access, I can put it below this video as a free resource. But basically, as we look at this project, we want to recognize the different steps and how it works. Because what is most important when we're working with these different sort of automations is recognizing the steps, and there are 4 key elements, right? We want to understand how these automations work. So the key elements of an automation OS are 1, data, 2, the actual automation, 3, the AI, and 4, a clean interface. And let's go ahead and identify all of that here. So we're just going to highlight the different sections that I think are the most valuable for you. Okay? You want to start with the initial scraping of the meat. Because remember, when we look at data on the web browser, it's usually hierarchical. What this means is that there is, did I just delete something? There is a page within the page, etc., etc. What we want to do is make sure that all of our nodes are easily understood. So instead of filter, we're going to say filter for races with horses, obviously. And what this one does is after we scrape the meat, after scraping the meat, we get the horses for the meat. We filter for that. Now what we want to do is we perform a live web search. Perform a live web search for relevant horse race data. This right here is limiting it to 5 races. This is only for testing. We can delete that. And then what we do here is match data from the initial search. Match data from initial search to our new analysis. Save to sheet. So this is what a good web scraping automation looks like. The web scraping part, it is a little bit complicated. We do have to put in the right URLs, get this information, and parse it. We have a web scraping tool where we just extract the HTML with all the things here, and then we want to write some of our own code in order to scrape that information. The great news is we can always come over to the Ask AI video the AI prompt and get that information. So I hope this clears things up. Let's go ahead and find time to review this, and I can always send more information if you just comment below or just ask. Thanks a lot.